Well, we've been hearing an awful lot about what's going on Douglas Promenade, and of course these radical designs to get rid of the areas where just cars go and where the pedestrians can go. It's a sort of combined area which has, of course, in itself caused some people to worry about the implications. And with me, Mr. Bates is joining us from just outside Birmingham. You're obviously very involved in the blind. You lost your sight only a few years ago, so you're only too aware of the problems that can be there. Can you explain your thoughts on what is proposed for Douglas Promenade?
Yes, shared spaces basically exclude blind people. The principle of a shared space is that you raise the road surface to make one large surface without curbs, without crossings, and vehicles and pedestrians all share the same space. People like me are frightened to walk amongst moving traffic, as are a number of other people who are old and infirm, and even some young mothers with small children also get very worried about walking in with moving vehicles. The theory of shared space says that all the vehicles will travel very slowly, and the drivers will be on the lookout for pedestrians, and they will stop immediately they see a pedestrian who tries to cross the road or who is already in the road. Now, in the UK there are quite a few shared spaces, and it doesn't work this way. Quite often the pedestrians will stand at the side of the road. They'll see the cars coming past at 20 miles an hour, probably 30, 40, 50 vehicles a minute, and then they look to the right to look for a gap in the traffic where they can dash across the road. Now, a number of vulnerable people like me and some of the old people just cannot cross roads under those circumstances at all. So that is the real effect. The principle involved for motorists is that they frequently take away the pedestrian crossings, and they frequently take away traffic signals so that the car drivers can pass through the town without ever meeting a red light. And the theory is then that they will stop whenever they feel it necessary to let pedestrians across. But this constitutes the problem, and this is the difference between the theory and the actual practice. I don't know Douglas now. I travelled there many years ago, but it would seem to me possibly that Douglas is prepared to spend many millions of pounds to increase the flow of vehicles and reduce the number of pedestrians on the promenade. And if that's what they want to do, well, shared spaces should do it very successfully.
Well, we've got these roundels and the areas which did have the pelican crossings will be replaced with zebra crossings. What's your views on even that being done?
Well, roundels create problems because they involve people, drivers, steering round a small island. In a number of other towns, they have these little lumpy islands in the middle of the road, and at the side of the road, they have a line where there is, beyond which there is a footway. And so you get large vehicles have to drive around these roundels, and large vehicles take up more room when they go round a bend, and so frequently they will drive across the line onto the footway to get across the roundel without hitting it.
And the pelican crossing, obviously you get that reassuring beep noise, but does that mean that you're safe, or any safer than just using a zebra crossing, for instance?
A pedestrian crossing, you say? Yeah, well, basically, from my point of view, I walk with the white cane, and with the white cane I can follow the curb and I can find pedestrian crossings. When I find a pedestrian crossing, I will press the button, and then there will be a beeping noise which tells me when the traffic has stopped, and I will walk across the road towards the beeping sound that comes from the other side. So that beeping sound is guidance for me to get across the road. If there is no beeping sound, quite frequently, being blind, I've got no guidance, and I will drift off the side of the road. It's impossible for anybody to walk in a straight line without any guidance. Sighted people, of course, use their eyes to guide their feet, but blind people can't do this. And so if you have no guidance, it's not possible to walk in a straight line. And keeping on a pedestrian crossing, or even crossing the road straight across, is very difficult. And invariably, I finish up walking diagonally. And I have walked across a shared space when there's traffic with my white cane, and you walk forward very slowly into a stream of traffic that you can hear, but you can't see. I've never been hit yet, but it's very frightening, and most blind people won't do it.
Have you been asked your opinions as your society to input into these sort of plans? I know Blackpool's had a go and other places in the UK on this shared space, but will you as an organisation want to be consulted?
As an organisation, yes. My job is to contact highway engineers and planners all over the country, and I've talked to a lot of these people, and eventually I wrote a document giving them guidance as to how blind people navigate without sight, because most of these highway engineers don't understand how this can be done. This guidance document was approved by the Royal National Institute of Blind People and also by the Guide Dog Association, and they took it to the Department for Transport, and the Ministry of Transport then circulated it to over 3,000 officers all the way around the country who are responsible for the design of streetscapes.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it and get, no doubt, the views of yourself. Obviously, it's still yet to go for planning here and Tynwald approval, so it's not yet a done deal. These things have a habit, do you think, of being watered down when these sort of issues are looked at?
Well, a lot of shared spaces. They cost a lot of money, and Douglas presumably is prepared to spend a lot of money to carry out the technical work of raising the road surface up to footway level. The value of that work, when it's all done, technically is psychological, and it is supposed to cause drivers to slow down when they can see that the curbs are lower or that they've been removed. In actual fact, it appears that lots of drivers don't understand this at all, and they carry on driving the way they've always driven.